Before we get started with the video, I just wanted to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell, like and share the video, and leave a comment down below. Please do, by the way, because I actually do respond to all of those myself. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord where you can voice chat with me while I live stream and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after-action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Mike, and this is...
Other Mike.
And today, Other Mike is set up a little bit differently because I sent him a cool little stand for his iPad that he records on. So, if you see that, today we are doing this is the spoiler section for the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We're just gonna roll right into this with no post opening or anything like that. Yeah, so let's talk about this. We're gonna get into some spoilers. This one is coming out a little bit late because last week I had my grandmother visiting, and we just really busy, some stuff going on. So we're probably gonna you guys are gonna get this about a week later than it should have gotten out, but that's okay.
Grandma's take priority.
What's that?
Yeah, your grandma takes priority.
Exactly, and you know what the thing is that you guys got to make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff, because Other Mike and I do not get paid for doing these videos, and you get what you pay for. So sometimes YouTube takes a back seat to other things going on. So if you get us to where we're getting paid, you'll be number one.
But we're family friendly too.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. So, okay, so let's talk about this. We'll go. I think that we'll just dive right in. Elephant in the room, with Multiverse of Madness. Wanda. What is up with Wanda? Like, what you said you had some thoughts. What are you thinking, Mike? You want to go first?
My background and stuff like that. I to me, I could relate with her being a distraught woman who longed to have a family and to have children, and the links at which she went to try to make that happen. You know, she kind of has this fantasy world. And then she wants to make it reality. I think some people can relate to that. Some people who may not be exposed to that, maybe younger kids and stuff like that, might not understand it completely. Right. But hey, it's being a mom with kids, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's good, and kind of spun off the series of WandaVision for sure. So there's the link, back to the other Marvel, in this case, series. So, yeah. But yeah.
So for those of you who are checking this out, you've already seen this. This is for people who've already seen the movie. If you're not interested in seeing the movie and you want to know, Wanda is the bad guy here.
Yeah.
And as Mike was saying, as Other Mike here, Other Mike, or now also known as Ultimate Mike.
Mike.
As Ultimate Mike here, Old Man Mike.
Old Man Mike.
Yeah. See, this is Other Mike is actually me. Other Mike is actually me from the future.
That's right. I'm from another parallel universe.
Yeah.
New and improved. I'm Mike 2.0. Okay.
Yeah. So Other Mike here is saying, basically, like he said, the big conflict is she wants to get her kids to be a reality by stealing them from another universe, and America Chavez in this movie is able to travel between universes, so she's basically hunting America Chavez down, and Doctor Strange in other universes and in our current universe that we've been seeing in the movies is trying to protect her. So another Doctor Strange from another universe is protecting her from a monster that Wanda has sent. In the beginning of the movie, you don't know that the monster was sent by Wanda. He gets killed by that monster while America Chavez teleports to our universe where the Doctor Strange we've known is, and he helps protect her, and then also discovers that Wanda is the big bad. So I think that there's some continuity errors when we talk about plugging this into the MCU as a whole, because, and we kind of brought this up in the main review, but because we weren't able to talk about spoilers, we kind of had to speak in code here. But like,
Right.
WandaVision plays out, and a lot of people were irritated where Wanda doesn't have any consequences. In the end, there is a character who literally tells Wanda, like,
they'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
as if Wanda almost did like a good and noble thing. But actually, in WandaVision, she tortured people. Like, those people, there's a scene, and I might be able to find it and put it up so that you'll see like a cut here in the editing. But there's a scene where she releases one of these people, and the person begs for death.
If you won't let us go, just let us die.
Heroes don't torture people.
Like, they were in pain, and they were really tortured. And I think they said that went on for about a month. She had the people, so it was just a couple of weeks, but still, like, those people were begging for death and wanted to go back to their families. And so she basically needed to have some consequences. And then I said, well, it would be okay if in the next thing she gets the consequences, and she doesn't. She doesn't get those consequences. But anyway, I digress. In the end of WandaVision, she comes to accept that she doesn't have her kids. And she comes to accept, or it seems anyway, like she comes to kind of accept who she is and what it's going to be. And she moves forward, kind of overcoming that trauma. And then this whole movie is about her trauma, which was supposed to have already been resolved in the series. You see what I mean? Does that make sense?
It does make sense in a way, but when people go through trauma, they can have times when they're really kind of
back and forth.
There's kind of a calm in the storm, but then it comes back again and stuff like that. So I mean, it's maybe I'm trying to maybe play the devil's advocate, but
yeah,
maybe it's a second wave of her, longing to, have a husband and have children and stuff like that. She doesn't have a husband. She doesn't have a husband in this one. That's what I thought was interesting. But she just has the children.
So
they don't say a lot about that. It's kind of that's the one thing I saw that was different. And I thought, well, she seems pretty with Vision. She seemed to be doing a lot better with him, and enjoying his, being her husband and their two kids and stuff like that, and of course the scenes go from different time periods, which I think is kind of funny,
yeah, I know,
being older and stuff like that. But yeah, he's nowhere to be found in the in this next one, but the kids are there.
So I think, actually, something that somebody mentioned too is that in the end of WandaVision, the government builds a second body. Like that, well, they don't build a second body. They take Vision's body, and they plug it. Like, they basically restore it. They repair it. And even though they repaired it, it's still basically a machine, and it doesn't have Vision's like consciousness or so. It's like that, So I just have to pause here and make a correction. If you watch the little clip playing in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually see that in WandaVision, the vision created by Wanda's magic actually restores the memories and consciousness of the real Vision, meaning that Vision actually, and he'll fly away here at the end of this clip, but Vision actually exists. He's out there in the world and could be reunited with Wanda. She just needs to go find him. And I totally forgot about that when I was talking here, so I'm making this correction in post-editing, so I do apologize for that, guys. But anyway, back to the video. Okay, yeah. So what that actually means, though, is that Vision is out there. Like, there actually is a version of Vision that is out there. Like Vision isn't dead anymore. He's been resurrected. And like, I heard somebody, I know that it's been a minute since we did the other review, but I heard somebody talking about that. Like, that means that if Wanda were to go and find that Vision, because that version of Vision battles with Wanda's version of Vision from in the WandaVision, and then at the end he flies off and is just free. He just flies off. That means that if Wanda were to hook up with him, like find him, she could make Vision again. Like, she could have her husband back. Mm-hmm. And and so people were talking about it, and I'm like, that's kind of that's what I mean when I say like it's a continuity error. I think that the solution to a lot of the problems in this movie, as far as this problem with WandaVision, or sorry, with Wanda, would have been for them to like have WandaVision, and then have a movie called Wanda Scarlet Witch or something like that. I don't, something.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it have her struggling with the fact that like, oh, I know that it was bad for what I did, so I'm not going to do that anymore, and I miss my kids. And then in the end of that movie, she just goes full evil. Like she's like, whatever conflict happens in that movie, it doesn't matter. And then at the end, she's like, forget it, I don't care, I'm doing whatever it takes to bring my kids back, or to make my kids again. And then that leads into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think that would have been a better way to do this than to just go cold turkey from her basically saying, I'm fine with this, it sucks, but I'm okay with it, to I'm evil now and want to like murder.
At least have some scenes where they it kind of gives some missing steps there, like where she sees people with children and stuff like that, and she sees mothers with children, and she's she's longing for that, and then it kind of brings her back into her sorrow again, and then bam, she's the Scarlet Witch.
Actually,
that would have been the least.
Even as you're saying that, though, it makes me think, like, if you had a situation where America Chavez, because in the beginning of the movie, America Chavez is already getting chased. If you had a scene where America Chavez comes to our universe and says, like, hey, I'm a new superhero, I can travel between dimensions, I've met you guys in other dimensions, and then have Wanda go, do I have children in the other dimensions? And then Wanda goes a little bit nuts because of that. That would have been good, and then that makes Wanda evil, or something like basically like what you're describing, but like showing how America Chavez would fit into that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that could have probably been tailored or trimmed a little bit, and that part of the beginning of the movie could have been a more explanatory of what's going on with Wanda, because I think Wanda's kind of comes in and like, what's going on with Wanda? And especially if nobody ever watched the WandaVision, which there are people that.
And that's a good point, because if you are a person who is a casual moviegoer, we talked about this as well, but I'll just restate it here. If you're a casual moviegoer and you have not seen the Disney Plus series, you're going to not even know what they're talking about when they're talking about her kids, because her kids are not in Endgame, Infinity War. They're not in any of the other stuff, so you're not going to have any idea what's going on unless you've seen WandaVision. And also, because of if you've seen WandaVision, before you see WandaVision, to be able to watch that, you have to see Endgame and Infinity War to understand the conflict with Vision not being there. So like the whole situation is where you've got to watch basically 4 or 5 movies to get to this one.
She's she's looking for love, and looking for meaning, with children and of course with the husband Vision, and she doesn't get it. I mean, I feel for her. Lost her brother too. Remember? I mean, that's tragedy too. She's going through a lot.
Yeah, no, and I think that they just, so you know what the problem, what it is, and we're gonna, at some point we're gonna have to really get into a deep dive with what's going on with movies, not a particular movie, just movies in general, because I've seen this where the writing staff in Hollywood now, they do this thing where somebody comes up with a really great idea, like, hey, imagine what it would be like if Wanda was so depressed, so upset about Vision dying, that she decides, I'm going to make my own fake kids. And then, okay, so that doesn't work out, but now I'm going to go to another universe to get those kids. The kind of conflicts you would have. So that sounds interesting, right? That's a great idea. I think that that's a great idea. But then writing it out into a full-length movie in a way that makes sense, they almost always drop the ball. I'm watching a couple of the Disney Plus series now, and I'm like, this would have been a great idea if they would have done it right. But usually, they just kind of drop the ball in certain ways. And I think that Hollywood is having a big problem with that, and I think that they really did that here. And that's why you almost want to increase, like as far as a movie reviewer, you want to increase your rating because you know what it could have been. but then it's sad, and it's sad to see. It's sad to see because you're like, man, you really did have a good idea, but you kind of dropped the ball. That's my point.
They seem sometimes it seems like there's a simple way to do it, but then because you want all the bells and whistles and everything like that, it's got to be complicated, and then I think the complicated takes away from the simple storyline that could have been in the Doctor Strange 2. And I think of like I've said this, is that I love watching the first Ant-Man, and I don't know why, but it's just a simple story.
Yeah.
His dad, he wants to be with his daughter, and I mean they have great stuff in it, great effects, great fight scenes and all that, but it's really a very simple story, and the way that it was written and directed and produced, I think to me it seems I kind of, that's kind of one of my standards or stuff like, or maybe the first Guardian of the Galaxies. I like that one too. I thought it was very,
yeah.
Even the second one, they're very, very simple storylines, and they build on that simple storyline instead of trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Right, and I totally agree with you. I think that yeah. No, so moving forward now, so kind of getting into the next kind of point here is looking at what's happened with Wanda moving forward in the MCU. What are they going to do? Because, and I meant, like we've talked about this a couple of times on and off camera, is like you had Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Hawkeye. And now Hawkeye's retired, Captain America's gone, Hulk is messed up. You know what? I'm not trying to do
that. The Hawk.
This was the Thor finger, and so I wanted to leave that one up, but we'll switch them around here. So Captain America's gone, Hulk is done, Iron Man died. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. It's been like a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Hulk now they cannot do a movie with Hulk because Hulk cannot have his own movie because of problems with, what is it? Paramount Pictures or something owns the rights, so you're never going to get a Hulk movie, a solo Hulk movie in the MCU. And then Thor, I'm really scared because they're trying to do the same treatment to him as they've done with other characters, where they assassinate his character to prop up a female character, which the female character part isn't the problem. It's the destruction of Thor's character. And so now you're basically going to have the Black Captain America, okay, Winter Soldier, Captain Marvel, and She-Hulk looks like it's going to be bad. Everybody's been criticizing She-Hulk before it's even come out. It doesn't look very good, the trailers stuff. I don't know if you're tracking that. And then female Thor, and all of those characters that I just mentioned, nobody likes. Like, nobody likes any of those characters. And so and Wanda was one of the Avengers, and they destroyed her in this movie.
Right. It's like, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but it's almost like they're trying to make a woke team. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Exactly.
And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I if that's the way they want to go, that's the way they go. But man, some of these guys are iconic figures that have been around for, I think probably in the 30s. Some of these characters came out. I mean, people grew up with these. Generations grew up with these. I mean, I never heard of She-Hulk. Sorry, there probably is a She-Hulk too. But I never heard of that stuff. But man, Iron Man, Captain America, those things, Thor, I mean, those were like the bread and butter of Marvel. And now they kind of went away from that and stuff like that. So, I mean.
Yeah, so Marvel did a thing in the early 2000s called All New, All Different. And this was in the comics. And that's when they took Hulk, who is their he's the second most popular comic book character in the world. It's literally, there's three. And then you have like Superman and stuff included in this too, but he's not as big as these three. So it's Spider-Man, Batman, and the Hulk. Okay? And those are the big three. They made Hulk Asian, So in the comic books right now, or for a while anyway, he was Asian, and his name was Amadeus Cho. They made Thor female, and not only did they make Thor female, it was really egregious because they said that Thor was not worthy anymore, which really irritated people because they're like, how can you just say he's not worthy anymore? Like his whole character, even in the movies, his whole character has been becoming worthy. They made Iron Man Tony Stark died, or I think he was in a coma. He was in a coma, and they made Ironheart, who was a black teenage girl. Okay, I don't care so much about her being black. I'm just telling you, like, the people who do this care. So I'm just okay. So they did that. They made Captain America a Nazi. They made him literally a Nazi, and they made a bunch of the characters flip-flopped like that, and they made a lot of the male characters female. They made a lot of the white characters black. They did all this different stuff, and Marvel comic book stock prices plummeted. Like, all of the Marvel fans were like, no, we don't want our characters to just change arbitrarily. Why don't you just continue to make good stories like you've done for a long time?
Yeah,
and if you want more black characters, if you want more female characters, good. We love black characters. We love female characters. We love black female characters. Write them. Make them. Don't try to make Hulk into an Asian character. Make an Asian character. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
well, you had the Black Panther too.
Black Panther? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's awesome. That's an awesome comic book.
Yes,
I remember that. I mean, yeah. And you know, and there are, you know, there's, well, Captain Marvel, I mean, there was a male version.
Yeah.
And then
even female... Even female Captain Marvel, there was a female Captain Marvel that had long hair, and people really liked her. And when they did this all new, all different, they cut her hair really short and made her a lesbian. And people were like, a lot of her, not just the fact that she's a lesbian and has short hair, okay, but the way that they wrote her, she became kind of this tough jerk character. Like, a lot of the characters that they wrote that were supposed to be heroes, they started to show like the female Iron Man that they have, her name is Ironheart. She's rude and mean, and people don't like her because her attitude, not so much because she's a black female. But my point about it is that it failed in the comics, so why are they doing it in the movies?
Yeah. Well, you're right. So when we talk about Wanda, I mean, now they've really wrote themselves into a corner with how they portrayed her in the movie. Yes.
Yeah, so in the next movie, if they have another Avengers movie, how are you going to bring Wanda back and she's going to be a hero now to help everybody? How are you going to do that?
Let alone her powers. I mean, we didn't even talk about that. That she was dwarfed, you know, Doctor Strange, and it's like, you know, he can't stand up to her. And I'm like, that just seems really weird when I saw that in the movie. I'm like, seems like he's got a little bit more in his pocket than that, you know, or his backpack, however you want to say it. But
yeah. And that's where you get people on YouTube. So sometimes I see these people on YouTube who talk about, like, you'll see one movie, like, let's say the next movie, Doctor Strange goes and fights a god, because that's what it looks like they're setting up. He's actually going to go fight a god in the next movie. Like the character that shows up at the end of this movie and they go to another universe. It looks like they're setting up another fight with Dormammu, who is an actual god. How are you going to have him fight a god in the next movie? And then then you're going to get people who look back at this movie and go, so then how was he so weak there? Like, where did that happen? How was he so strong in the first movie, and then in the second movie he's just this terrible, like, you know, in his own movie he's this weak guy that, you know, it makes no sense.
Very, very smart and clever and wise in the first one, and outthought his opponent. And in this one, he just seemed to be struggling with how to figure out.
Yeah, anything.
He does, and I kind of like the way they do it in some ways, but it just seemed a little bit. He seemed a little bit dumber in this movie.
I think that heroes the objective used to always be to make the hero, whether they're white, black, male, female, whatever, to make them cool, man. Like, we got to be cool. Like, this has got to, when you see a hero on the screen, they've got to be the thing, man. And now it's like, now a lot of the heroes, they're doing this character assassination thing, like, where we'll have a really cool character and then in the next movie he'll be an idiot for no reason or whatever. He, she, whatever it is, will be a stupid idiot, and then and it's like, why are you building up these characters and then just destroying? It feels like they're just assassinating all their own characters.
Right.
And I think that you're right. I think that it's to make room for some woke team of superheroes that nobody cares about. And then getting into that, let's transition to the next point here: character assassinations, literal character assassinations. Reed Richards, Professor Xavier, Black Bolt, Captain Marvel, Captain Carter. Now, in this movie, they all show up as part of the Illuminati, and I'm going to tell you something right now. You don't beat Professor X. Like, you just don't. Professor X is the most powerful telepath on planet Earth. And in this movie, he's in the Illuminati, and there's kind of a fight that happens, and Professor X comes in, and he reaches out his hand, I think, or touches Wanda, and he goes into her mind. And in your mind, the rules are different. It doesn't matter if you're magic or you're super powered. Professor X, he's more powerful than you in your mind.
That's right. Right.
And
exactly.
Wanda just kills him. Like the scene, there is no fight between them. She just kills him. Reed Richards in this movie and he's
that's the worst one.
He is the smartest man in the universe. Like, it's
Right.
actually explicitly stated, he is the smartest man in the Marvel universe. And he looks at Wanda and he says, "Wanda, don't even try to fight us, because Black Bolt can kill you with one whisper from his mouth." He says it specifically in the stupidest way that he could have said it. And then she goes, "Well, what mouth?" And then Black Bolt, she makes his mouth disappear, which I don't even know her powers in as far as the comic books and everything. I don't think that she has the ability to do something like that. But even if she does, it's like, okay. So then she is able to kill Black Bolt. Now, Black Bolt, if you know anything, do you know anything about comic book Black Bolt?
No, that's the first time you're like we talked about. There's different levels. I'm like old school. Some of the comic books I grew up with as a kid.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. But then some of the newer ones, I don't know about Black Bolt, but we talked about it offline.
So Black Bolt is a less popular. He's part of the Inhumans, and the actor. One second, you might see Mike go away for a second. Nope, he didn't. The character is played by Anson Mount, and he's Black Bolt is part of a group called the Inhumans, and in the Inhumans, Inhumans had a show, and Anson Mount was the actor who played him in the show. So it's the same actor. So it was really cool. It was really cool. Black Bolt is like fight Hulk, physically strong. There's in the comic books, Black Bolt is, while he isn't as strong as the Hulk, he's physically strong enough to be able to fight the Hulk.
Yeah.
And he can fly. He can do a bunch of different things. He would have never needed to speak to be able to fight Wanda. He could have punched her in the face one time. It said like he can. I think with one arm. In the Marvel comic books, they have these different ways that they explain how superhero strength is. But like with one arm, he can lift 2,000 pounds. Like So he's like really strong.
That's some serious weight.
Yeah, he would have been able to just smack her. And then, and then you have Captain Marvel, the black version of Captain Marvel, and she's played by Lashana Lynch here. Captain Marvel, I know that there's some controversy around Brie Larson and how powerful Captain Marvel is and how versus Thor and all this stuff, but still, forget about any of that argument. Captain Marvel is a cosmic level superhero. She can battle Thor. She can fight the Hulk. And you mean to tell me that you kill her by dropping a statue on her? Like, she's physically strong enough that because that's how she dies. Wanda, does a thing to a statue and makes it fall down on top of Captain Marvel. It's like, that wouldn't have killed Captain Marvel any more than it would have killed Thor or the Hulk. How the heck does that...
Yeah, that was surprising because Captain Marvel was like, she's a galaxy hero, not she's, like you said, she's like a high tier, cosmic level hero. And in this one, she's... They really didn't do any justice and stuff like that. I thought Wanda may be a little more clever with how she defeated him,
But yeah, she just overpowers them unrealistically. And when you talk about writing and there's going to be people who say, well, how was it supposed to happen? Like how was it supposed to? What would she do? She's just got to, And I'm like, well, that's what writers are for. They're supposed to find out a way that a weaker character would beat a stronger character.
I mean, she could have put some delusion on them and stuff like that.
She did it to the Avengers, yeah.
She did it to that whole city. I mean,
Oh, exactly, yeah.
It doesn't mean they're incapable. They're still susceptible. But then she'd have to defeat Dr. Xavier. That would be the one thing. How do you beat him?
But the thing is that it doesn't matter. The point about it is just that you would not have been able to take down those characters that way. And they assassinated those characters. So now moving forward, next time that we see Black Bolt, next time that we see Captain Marvel, next time that we see Professor Xavier, in your mind you're going to be thinking back to yourself, this guy is weak. He died. He got killed by Wanda. It's why would you bring out these characters for such a small amount of screen time just to embarrass them? Just to embarrass them.
In the way that Reed Richards is killed, yeah. I mean, it's literally like he got put in a shredder. I mean, it was. Yeah. I saw it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a way to die! I mean, it was terrible.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Is that it's not even funny. It's like, okay, I'm gonna.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it's like when you see someone. It's like when you see someone get kicked between the legs. Whether you're a man or a woman, you see someone get kicked between the legs. Bad. Like, you don't look at that and laugh. You look at it and you go, ooh.
Oh, man.
That was Reed Richards. It was like, no, that is not. That ain't it. The thing is that you want to see your heroes go out like heroes. Yeah. Not like clowns that get turned into literal confetti.
So remember in Deadpool where the guy goes into the wood chipper?
Yes.
That is because he's a buffoon.
Yes.
And he dies like that. And people kind of expect that. And there's some humor with it and stuff like that. But here's Reed Richards, the guy, part of the Fantastic Four. And he's essentially killed almost the same way. And it's
that's a good point. He's given the same treatment as an idiot from another movie.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it seemed like they really could have thought that through a little bit more and taken a little bit more maybe as they're going through the different universes and stuff like that.
Well, the thing is too is that in this movie you had an opportunity to present these characters in a very cool way that opens up the universe. You know what I'm saying? That opens up the Marvel universe so that way in the next movie you can say like, oh well, we don't have an Iron Man, but you know who we do have? We have Black Bolt. We don't have Iron Man. Or, maybe we don't have the Hulk, but we can have Black Bolt, or we can, or we don't have Iron Man, but we have Reed Richards, who's super smart. And so you can bring these characters in, and and if they would have done this right, when people saw them again, it'd be like, oh, I remember he's the one that did that really cool thing in when he fought Wanda and didn't die, if they did it right. But instead, they just had him killed embarrassingly.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
The paper shredder.
Yeah, no, it sucked. Oh. And I'll tell you something I didn't like is that Captain Carter is her own character. Like, she's a completely different person, because she's here too. She's a completely different person than Captain America. Like, she's literally not even a female version of Captain America. She's like another character without the super soldier serum. And then you see her say like, oh, I can do this all day. And I'm like, that's not even her line. Like, that's not even a thing that she would say. That only Steve Rogers says something like that, and he says something like that because he was a small person who used to get beat up, and when he would stand up and the bullies would say, aren't you done yet? And he would say, no, I can. Basically, he would say, no, you can beat me all day. I can take it. She did not. She lived a completely different life than him, and that's not something that she would have said. So I thought it was like, what are you writing? What are you writing here? Like, what is this? What are you doing to these characters?
I did kind of like her in it. I thought she was I liked her feistiness, and she did kind of, as the other two went down very quickly, she was a hard three that went down, I think. Yeah. And, so, but I think Wanda could have done more realistic if she defeated them in another way.
Yeah, or didn't kill them. I think that probably the best thing to what should have happened is that she disables them without killing them. And then, like I
Right.
said, then you bring him in. Because if you keep killing off characters, you're never going to be able to have an Avengers
Yeah.
team. You're never going to have another Avengers team. Wanda's
Yeah.
gone now. She's not going to be able to. And then I
Well,
even said this. I kind of talked to you about this before. Is that if this were going to be a kind of a girl power type, when we talk about wokeness and stuff in movies, if this was going to be
yes.
like some woke girl power thing, you literally depicted this woman as a crazy emotional psychopath. Like, that's not girl power, man. That's literally the thing that people who hate women say. Like, women are just these emotional, crazy, stupid, whatever. And that's literally what Wanda is here. Like, she's really powerful, but she's crazy,
She is, she, I mean, she does, I mean, there are some,
evil.
from my background, definitely some, psychological issues. Some, just to see what, I'm trying to think how to say this. Um, you know, she sees things that she needs that really are not realistic and attainable. I mean, the bottom line to solve this is that want to find a husband. You can
Exactly.
have children. Yeah, I mean that to me that's that and that of course when you do a movie you make it a little bit frustrating to keep people interested. Any shows like that, you use frustration, and try to make people say, "Oh, why didn't they do that?" It just is so obvious. But this one, I think it went kind of beyond frustration to like bizarre in some places. So
Yeah, no, exactly. It was. It was bizarre. It was character assassinations all around. Doctor Strange got assassinated. I'm talking about character wise. All of the Illuminati characters got assassinated, both figuratively and literally. Um, so yeah, that really sucked. I think that yeah, I don't know where they would go with this character anymore. That kind of, so yeah, I mean that was like the two biggest things. Do you have any other like big spoiler things you want to talk about though? As far as
um, I'm trying to think, what I did think Christine Palmer did pretty good in the other universe. I liked her in that.
oh
She
yeah,
seemed to
yeah.
stay in character throughout the whole thing. To make a positive, I thought she was pretty consistent.
Yeah, so Christine Palmer is Doctor Strange's love interest. In this one, they do this thing with Doctor Strange. Well, actually, I am going to say this before we go, but for now, I just want to say, yeah, Christine Palmer is like his love interest, and when he goes to this other universe, she's part of Reed Richards' organization called the Baxter Foundation, and she helps Doctor Strange. Yeah, I really like the acting. The one thing that I didn't like about her, and I said this before, is when she like tells him how to use his powers with the ghost thing, and she's like, "You're a master of the mystic arts. Just use your magic to control the ghosts." I was like, how would you even know that? But I
Yeah,
really did actually think that the character interaction between them two was really good, um,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
would be
See,
nice.
there's a Doctor Strange not quite knowing what he's doing, as opposed to the other one where he's at a high level of understanding and wisdom, and basically um, outsmarts the god that's going to come and destroy the earth.
Yeah,
So I forgot his name. Sorry.
Dormammu. Yeah, Dormammu.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I also just wanted to say this. I didn't like this weird morality thing that they did because basically, in this other universe, so Doctor Strange travels to one other universe. They call this the multiverse, but really it's just he travels from the main universe to another universe. And in this other universe, they explain how Doctor Strange, the Doctor Strange of that universe, used an evil book to gain the power to fight Thanos. Okay? What did they call it? Basically it's the Necronomicon. He uses the Necronomicon to fight Thanos. Okay, but the Necronomicon is this evil book. Because of the fact that he used the evil book, he was able to discover the good book. I forget what they call the good book, but it's like this book of pure goodness, and then there's the book of pure evil. He goes to the Illuminati, he tells them, "I'm trying to defeat Thanos with the evil book, and I accidentally destroyed another universe doing it. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I did it. I'm sorry." And so, but we can use this book of pure good to defeat Thanos. So the Illuminati uses the book of pure good, defeats Thanos, And then because Doctor Strange is evil and dangerous, they kill him. And I was like, it really doesn't seem like he was evil or dangerous or anything at all. It just seems like he made a mistake because he didn't know what was going to happen. And he was doing it to save people, and then it worked. I mean, it worked. He saved the universe.
Right. I mean, he could be like, he basically, if you're gonna be accused of anything, is like, a multiverse, manslaughter. And then the other thing is he's could be accused of not being a team player, but then he goes and talks to them. So yeah, when he gets Black Bolt kind of basically microwaves him.
Yeah, because Black Bolt's voice is so powerful, he can just destroy anything. So he speaks Doctor Strange out of existence. Yeah.
Basically, he goes the way of vapors and stuff. So, but yeah, that was strange. I'm like, come on, man, give the guy a second chance. I mean,
like, yeah,
defeating Thanos in any universe was probably quite the quite the good thing. But
he literally was a hero. He literally was the hero of the universe in the movie.
They have a statue of him.
But they killed him for it. Like they actually killed him. He should still be alive. Like there's no reason to have killed that guy. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it was Illuminati cover up.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
It really was.
It was.
They got a statue of him, like he's a hero and everything.
Yeah,
it's Illuminati cover up.
Yeah, they have a statue of him like he's some hero, and then secretly they killed him. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's basically what we wanted to get into. Moving forward, we're gonna have to watch and see what happens with the rest of the MCU related to these characters, because they've really they're like you said, they're writing themselves into corners, and I'm afraid of Thor, because I have some thoughts on what I think is going to happen with Thor. I'm not going to mention them here, but I will tell you that I am afraid that they're going to do the same thing where they write themselves into a corner with Thor, and then they're going to ruin his character. I'm afraid of that, but hopefully, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. So,
right, and what's to stop them from starting all over again with a new group of people, and doing other stories with the bread and butter that's been going on for the last almost 80 plus years.
Right.
Why not? And they always modernize it. I mean, there's been other Iron Man, and there's other I'm trying to think of some other ones. Punisher has come out in several different forms, in several different ways. So why I mean, they tried to do it Fantastic Four, but the second one just wasn't very good. But you can do it with. There's other actors out there who can play. So they can play Captain America, and and never play Thor or something. And these guys have been doing this for a while, and it's okay to have them start all over again.
Are you talking about like a reboot of the MCU? That's what some people I've heard people say, like unrelated to even talking about this movie, but some people have said like maybe it's time for them to kind of reboot.
Right, and I think DC Comics has been a little bit better. Warner Bros. Has been a little bit better about rebooting things like that. I mean, we're kind of like maybe on our third Superman, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. And there was more before that. I mean, you could go back, but they reboot it, and
yeah, like it didn't work.
People are cool with that. If it's a good story, you can say it over again, and you can do it a different way. I mean, because you had Smallville, and you had I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I got Lois and Clark. I mean, so they reboot it, and you see another storyline. Because I mean, there's plenty of stuff you can do there that it can make it fun and enjoyable. Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater.
I think we're getting to the point with the MCU where it has lived long enough where it's either going to die what did they say? It's going to die the hero or become the villain.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
that's what it
really.
is. They're either going to have to like reboot and like I said, kind of die the hero, or to me though it seems like it's becoming more of the low quality movies.
Yeah.
It's becoming the villain here, so.
And I mean, they sold it to Disney, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes from here on with Disney and stuff.
Yeah. So, but there you have it, guys. That's our spoiler section here. I rated the movie as, and I'm not changing my rating, but I rated it as below average. I'm even looking at it because I have it pulled up on my screen to make sure that I don't forget what I rated it. I rated it as below average. I think that I was extremely disappointed about some of this stuff, especially with the Illuminati and kind of this both figurative and literal character assassinations happening. And then Mike, if you other Mike, if you don't remember, you
I
rated it
thought
as
in some parallel universes, I'm Ultimate Mike, but you can
there you
call
go.
me Other Mike. Um,
Yeah, you rated it as
I still
average.
think it's still an average movie. I mean, I've seen, you know, I went and seen some movies recently that were, I'm just like, what in the world's going on with us? Just terrible movies. And
Yeah.
this wasn't a terrible movie. It's one you can go watch and stuff like that. And, um, you can get through it, and I think, but yeah, there's I'll say you probably agree with me. There's some gaping holes that probably needed to be filled and painted over in this movie.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there you have it, guys. That's what we've got. Hopefully, hey, let me know what you guys think. Mike, I'm springing this on you live here, so just be cool. Mike and I, other Mike and I, we've talked about this. Ultimate Mike. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up. Let me know how would you guys like to see Ultimate Mike here do his own review. Let me know what you think in the comments. It may or may not happen. We've been talking about it. Let us know what you think. So.
Sounds good.
That's all we've got. That's all we've got. We do want to thank you all for watching and just say God bless you all. It is Memorial Day, so make sure to remember those that have given their lives for in service to our country. And have a good day.